Want to know the only 2 real objections you're ever going to run into and how to identify them from smokescreen objections so you can get more signups in your business? I'm going to share all of that and more in this morning's marketing tip. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is I, Greg Gomes III, founder, CEO, FastStartMarketer.com. Welcome to today's video. So, what is the truth? The truth is your prospects are often lying to you. Friends, family, neighbors, if you're prospecting people you know in your warm market or people you meet on the streets, we're trained in this society, for the most part, to be polite. The path of least resistance is human nature. We don't want to cause conflict. We don't want to cause an issue or hurt feelings as a bottom line of telling somebody no. We really don't like telling folks no for the most part. It's something you have to learn how to do. Unless you're from New York, and then it's easy to tell people no. You tell them go to heck, right? However, when your prospects, your friends, your colleagues, especially if they're people that you know or you're associated with, they don't want to hurt your feelings, they don't want to cause conflict, so it's easier to lie to you about the reason why they don't want to sign up in your business, take your products, join a meeting, whatever it is, than it is to tell you the truth. They're smokescreen objections is what we call them. The truth is there's only 2 real root objections. Those are money and skepticism. Write those down. Money and skepticism. I don't have the money, or I don't believe you, or I don't believe in myself to do this. Those are the only real root objections. Everything else you run into, I got to talk to my spouse. I need some time to think about it. Can you send me some additional information so I can educate myself? All of those are smokescreen objections. They're rooted in either the money or the skepticism issues. I'm going to show you how to identify those. So what is a smokescreen objection? A smokescreen objection is a typical half-truth or maybe just blatant lie that a prospect will tell you in order to avoid having to make the decision at this point. We don't like buying pressure. We don't like sales pressure. So whenever we can create something that changes the buying pressure or the decision-making to a later time or another time or deflects it from the current now, it's easier for folks to do that, hence where smokescreen objections come from in the first place. So they're often predicated with or prepositioned with, you know what, I'd love to, but I need to talk to my spouse first, or I actually need to go evaluate how much revenue I have in my account, how much money I have in my accounts before I can commit to that big of a financial investment. Or I'd love to, but you know, I don't have time right now. Let me look at it at another time. Let me follow up with you and we'll go from there. That's one you can determine in the beginning in a prospecting call. I can't right now because, and then they give you any condition other than money, or I can't because I don't believe you. If someone came out and literally said, hey, I would do this if it wasn't so obviously a pyramid scheme or something of that nature, then that's easier to work with. Okay, obviously you're skeptical. Of course I'm skeptical, right? You should be too. This is a scam, and my brother, sister, uncle, nephew, or I've been part of several different other organizations and they all took my money and none of them were worth anything, and I got hurt. Okay, cool. Hey, at least we got to the truth. I'm glad you told me that. Now we can actually deal with a real issue and we can go forward from there, all right? Then to deal with the real issue, you go to the 8-step objection handling process, which I shared with you yesterday or in the previous video. Now, what if it is legit? How will you identify the legit? I won't or I can't because I don't have the money. Now, that's not necessarily a legit objection. It may be smokescreen. People have evolved over the last few years to know that if I tell someone trying to sell me something I got no money, well, then they're less likely to want to pursue working with me. It's something I have to tell my associates all the time. Look, just because a person tells you they don't have money to invest into their businesses, or they don't have money to start a business, or they don't have money to advertise their businesses, that doesn't mean that's the truth. It just means that you haven't established enough trust, or it's possible you haven't established enough trust for them to be honest with you about how much money they have. Why would we tell folks, hey, I'm going to go buy a car, the max I can spend is $40,000, I have that in my bank account right now. Do you think the car dealer is going to come back and say, oh, lucky for you, I got a car exactly what you're looking for and it's only $30,000, right? This is part of the art of survival in negotiation and conducting ourselves in mainstream culture that is going to try to take us for every nickel we got. So consumers are smarter than they used to be. We might act dumb, but we are smarter. So just because they tell you that it is the money doesn't actually mean it's the money. So how do we figure that out? 8-step objection handling process. Hey, I totally get that. We acknowledge them. It's a lot of money. I'm not going to say that it isn't. But when we started this conversation, and keep in mind it's not mandatory to do this. If you're satisfied with where you are, you're totally capable of staying there. It's just that when we started the conversation yesterday, you seemed really excited about the potential of generating some extra revenue. Is that correct? Is that still something you want to do? It is. It's just that I don't have the money to be able to do it. $500 is too much. I can't afford that. Okay, great. So let's set the money aside. And let's assume for a second that I can show you a way to get this done so it's not breaking the bank. If that's the case, I don't know how, but if I could do that, is this something you want to do? Well, yeah, it is. Okay, so let me make sure I'm clear. Money is the only issue. If I can fix the money thing, you're saying you're in today? Is that correct? Well, yeah, it is. Okay, great. Now I've isolated that it really is a money issue, right? I've eliminated all other potential issues that they could possibly give me in regards to not signing up today. I've done it twice, right? Now I can start solving for X, which is money in this case. You want the full scenario, watch the previous video and we'll go through all the details, but watch this video first. So what if it's not that? What if it's skepticism? How do you identify that? Hey, this sounds really good. How do I know this isn't a pyramid scheme? Hey, Greg, this sounds fantastic. How do I know you're not going to take my money and head off to Tahiti or something of that nature? How do I know you're not just going to run off to the Bahamas and take my money and fly off from me from there, right? Well, very simply, that's a great question. Sounds to me like you're a bit skeptical. Is that a first statement? Yes, it is. I don't blame you for being skeptical in today's day and age. Let's set that aside for a second. Let's assume for a minute that I can show you a way to get this done so you're not risking any money whatsoever. Based on everything you've seen here, is this information something you view as valuable? Do you see a potential for you to actually get successful results with this going forward? Yes, I do. Fantastic. Here's what we're going to do from here. Blah, 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 and blah. Now we start going through the rest of the process. Once you've isolated the fact that they are skeptical of you or of themselves, I'll cover that here in just a second, what you've ultimately done is you've actually gained a level of trust. When someone trusts you enough that they'll tell you flat out, hey, I don't believe you, I don't believe this, I'm skeptical, great, I appreciate that. 2 reasons. Number 1, they probably have the money and they're scared of losing it. That's a good thing. So you don't have to worry about a person being broke while you're talking to them. That's always a good challenge to have. Secondary reason is that they trust you enough to just tell you flat out, look man, here's my challenge, here's my concern. I want to believe, but I just don't because it seems a little too good to be true. Well, it is good and it is true, but it's not a miracle process. It's not a miracle program. It's not going to fix all of the challenges. So my question to you is, if I can help you overcome your skepticism, show you a safe way to get this done, and understand, there's nothing I'm going to be able to say or do here that's going to earn your trust 100%. I can't do that. There's no way for me to do that. The only way to get your trust 100% is for you to see the results for yourself. Does that make sense? Yeah, it is. And we agree that I can't earn your trust 100%. You agree that? Yeah, okay. What I can do is put you in a position where you're not risking anything at all. And if I can do that, if I can put you in a position where your risk is minimized, is the rewards of what we're talking about here, is that worth the risk for you to make a change in your life? Because the bottom line here is, what I know is this: if what we talked about yesterday before you went to this presentation is true, that you're struggling to make ends meet, and it's probably part of the reason why you're so skeptical now is you want to make sure you're not throwing away good money, right? Yeah. So if I can show you how to get that done, look, the challenge is this: you're already in a position right now where you're losing a lot of money by not doing something. You got to change something, right? Yeah. So if I can show you a safe way to get this done today so that you're minimizing that risk, are you truly committed to making a change? Yes, I am. Great. Here's the truth. I was just as skeptical as you were. You can use the feel, felt, found. I understand what you're feeling. I felt the same exact way. Here's what I found. And you go forward from there, okay? All of these are set up. All of these are ways of identifying what your prospects' challenges are and identifying those challenges so you can start to work with them and uncovering the real root objections. They either don't believe you or they don't have the money. The other skepticism may be not that they don't believe you. They see your success. They see other people's success. They see the program and it feels fantastic, but they know themselves. They know themselves well enough to know, I'm not a salesperson. I don't go out and talk to folks like you do. I have challenges reaching out to people or asking them to buy stuff and support me. These are all wrong thinkings. These are unjustified excuses not to be successful. You have to frame that in such a way, look, I totally get where you're coming from. I used to feel the same way. Bottom line is this: set that aside for a second. Let's assume for a minute that I can help you adjust your thinking so that you're not trying to sell people, you're actually helping people. And let me give you a scenario. In your case, if you were actually out and you had a life raft with you and you saw somebody drowning, this was your product, this was the thing you had, what would you do? Would you sit idly by while they drowned, or would you actually offer your help? I would offer my help. What if somebody tried to hold you back from that? What if there was somebody saying, no, they got to learn how to swim, and you see the person's clearly underwater and they're not coming back up? What are you going to do? I'm going to jump in after them, right? Why? That's human nature. Look, I'm not asking you to go out and convince other people to buy your stuff. That's not what this is about. And if I've given you that impression, I'm sorry, because that's not what this is about. What we truly do is we find folks who have a need, who are suffering in some way, and they're looking for someone to throw them a life raft or some type of lifesaver. You're going to have that, and you're going to be able to share that with them. Some will say, no, I'm good. Totally cool, no worries. But there are going to be a silent percentage of people that absolutely need what we have, and they want your help. They're just too scared to ask. Would you be willing to help those folks? Absolutely. That's the position I'm going to put you in. That's the position of this product and service, and that's the only way that I promote my business, is to those folks who actually want the service. Case in point, you're watching this now because you want to get better. Maybe you're curious about tactics to be able to improve the performance of your business. You wouldn't be here if that wasn't something long-term that you wanted to achieve. That's why you're here, and that's why I offer my assistance. Does that make sense? Do you see how that works? There's only one of two real objections. Either they don't have the money, and you have to test that, or they don't believe you, or they don't believe in themselves. Either way, you should be able to overcome that with everything I've shared with you here. Did you get value out of this? Do you think your team, friends, colleagues, anybody in the network marketing space would actually get value out of what we're talking about, or anybody in the direct selling space as well? Doesn't matter. I've helped brick and mortar businesses with these same strategies. Tag them below, share this, put it out to other folks to be able to get the benefit of what we're talking about here, because I know it will make an impact in their businesses. I know it'll make an impact in your business, but you got to execute. Here's the next step for you. Below, register for the next live webinar that we're hosting, where I'm going to do all of the objection handling. You bring me your objections, the things you most commonly run into, and I'm going to help you write a rebuttal that will overcome that objection every single time you use it. That's it, my friends. If you found value, like, share, +1, whatever the social media thing is here, and tag anybody below that you feel will get a great value of this product or service, or the benefits of what we're talking about here from these rebuttals and objection handling processes, and I'll see you on the webinar. Take care.